Steve. Actually, it's not a complete overview over the whole region we are talking about, but I would like to talk today a bit about the Russian market, which I think is one of the most important markets in the region, or maybe even the most important market. Let me quickly share my presentation. Can you all see it?
Yes, we can. If you could expand that to full screen, that would be great.
Perfect. Now it should be done, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first, thanks a lot to all the previous speakers for the very interesting presentations, and for everybody else to join this seminar. Maybe just a bit about my background. As Steve already said, I'm an economist. I'm with HPC for 8 years now, doing a lot of traffic forecasts and market analysis, financial analysis, and strategic recommendations. Actually to ports worldwide, and I have also conducted several projects in the Baltic Sea, and that's why I'm very pleased to have a brief scan today on the Russian Baltic ports. So it's actually just we're moving a bit further eastwards. Thanks a lot, Philip, for the very good overview on the Estonian market. So I'm just continuing there. Maybe before I give this brief overview, just a few remarks on our company and what we are actually doing. Actually, Hamburg Port Consulting is a daughter company of HHLA, Hamburg Hafen Logistik AG, which is operating 3 out of 4 container terminals in Hamburg. We are actually a sister company to Hala International, so I know Philip very well. From our side, we are providing consultancy services to the transport or to the ports and logistics industry in general for over 45 years now. We have major clients are actually from the port industry. We are providing services to maritime container terminals, to multi-purpose terminals, bulk terminals, and cruise terminals. But we are also very much engaged in intermodal rate terminals, doing planning consultancy or providing planning consultancy services there. We have also a small department which is focusing with airports or providing services to airports, and we are also delivering input and supporting customers from the shipping industry. We have actually customers from the private sector, including terminal operators, logistic companies, and other private companies, which are, let's say, acting in the logistics industry. We are also advising many governments and communities and port authorities, and this is all worldwide. We have conducted projects in over 120 countries, and overall over 1,400 consultancy projects. We are roughly 100 experts, so let's say as a medium or small to medium sized consultancy company, thus serving somehow a niche market. What's special about HPC? From my point of view, we are actually a one-stop shop for the ports and logistics industry. That we are a full service provider supporting our clients in all phases of projects. We are doing we are supporting in the preparation phase, where we conduct feasibility studies, market assessments, competition analysis, where we provide project assistance or site identification. We are supporting in the assessment stage of the project, where we are doing due diligence studies or privatization concept, business plans, and cost revenue projection, just to name a few. We are also supporting during the design and planning process, so meaning that we are elaborating terminal layouts and simulation studies. Yeah, we are elaborating operating concepts and as well as a specification of infrastructure and equipment. Then we are also providing services for the part stages of the realization of projects, where we support the project management, where we do process implementation, integration management, and procurement assistance. Yeah, and to go one step further in the projects, we are also active in commissioning and operations stages, where we do the commissioning management, equipment lifecycle management, and so on. And yeah, for those projects who had been set up already, we are doing improvement support, operational and commercial improvements, for instance, process re-engineering, and so on. And we have actually a lot of experts from various fields in our team. We have terminal planner, IT consultants and engineers. We have simulation experts, and special competences. And we have the transport economists, where I'm actually working. And we are doing a lot of market potential analysis and including traffic forecasts for various ports and terminals worldwide. And as said, I mean, considering the current situation in the Baltics, I think it's a good chance today to give a brief overview over the Russian market. Before going into the very details of the impact of the Corona crisis, I would just like to give you a very brief overview of how the Russian market looks like. I mean, it's a very big consumer and industrial market. The ports there had a total throughput of 5.3 million TEU last year, and as mentioned before, the Baltic Russian ports are really handling a large part of this total throughput for the Russian market. We also have to say that the Russian market is actually currently, the goods handled by the Russian ports are primarily for the local market, so it's not so much a transit market so far, but this is where I really see a potential for the future. I will come back to this in a minute. So the Baltic Basin, as mentioned, handles a large bulk, roughly 50% of the total volume, 2.6 million TEU last year. We see that there is some activities in the Far East Basin and the Black Sea. But we have little activity so far in the Arctic and the Caspian Sea, which might change as we might all know. In the Arctic, especially with the development of the North Sea route, this might lead to some diversion of traffic from traditional routes that we have in the south. In the Caspian Sea as well, there exists some opportunities to, let's say, increase container handling activities and building up additional capacities within the framework of the North-South transport corridor. I will come back to this in a minute as well. So regarding the Baltic Sea, St. Petersburg is obviously the major port, or the great port of St. Petersburg. It consists of 7 terminals, 4 major terminals. The port actually handles nearly 85% of the total Baltic Basin volumes of Russian ports. We also have Kaliningrad and Ust-Luga with so much lower shares. We have, I mean, the reason why so much cargo is handled in the Russian Baltic Sea is that actually most of the population, also most of the industrial activity is concentrated on the Western Russian market. There is roughly 80% of the total population living there, especially in the metropolitan areas of St. Petersburg and Moscow. And this is really the reason why the port of St. Petersburg has such a let's say, a great impact and influence in the region. Yeah, because it's very close actually to the major production and consumption clusters. So what have we seen during actually the last years, and especially during the Corona crisis? So what you can see here in this graph is the development of container throughput in the Baltic Russian ports over the last years. We can see that actually Russia has been confronted with quite a lot of downturns over the past 15 years. We all know the financial and economic crisis, which has led to a strong drop in volumes, actually worldwide. For Russia, there has been another significant downturn in 2014-15, when there has actually been a plunge in the oil prices, which is the country's major export commodity. There has also been some effect on the economic sanctions. As you might all know, there has been some sanctions imposed by the US and also the European countries on Russia in the course of the annexion of the Crimea. This had, although this had not such a strong effect than the oil crisis, as actually the sanctions were a lot on goods which were no major import goods actually, or people or traffic had just been diverted, and goods that had been sanctioned from Europe were just imported from other countries worldwide. But what really hit what we can see that there have always been gradual volume recoveries, but what we have also seen that with this COVID crisis or pandemic, there has, and the shutdown measures to contain it again, we have really seen a strong drop in volumes this year. It hasn't been that pronounced in the first quarter of the year. It was just around 1.3%, but it has, but the impact has been quite significant during the second quarter, where we have seen a drop of over 9% in the total Russian Baltic Sea market. Actually, I mean, we have seen these strong drop in volumes, but I talked to various experts, and as Philip mentioned it already in the case of Estonia, the complete volume or the volume drop experienced had not been that, let's say, that large as is expected. So actually people were expecting it to be like on a two-digit level. We all have to see what is going to happen here. I mean, so far we can really say that the commodity, retail, and transport service sector in Russia has been affected very much by the Corona crisis. We have seen the economy shrinking. People have a lower disposable income. There is larger. The unemployment has increased, and this in turn affecting the level of imports, which the country records. What we have seen, interestingly, we have also heard this before, is that the agricultural sector in Russia had been quite, let's say, stable. So it really depends on how, or the development will really depend a lot on the second lockdown, if there is any. A lot of people are expecting these, fearing that there will be more, this will have more detrimental effects to the whole Russian market. And this also might concern the trading partners, Europe and Asia, which are major trading partners of Russia. So the question now is, from a medium and long run perspective, how can the Russian Baltic ports, let's say, realize additional volume growth, trying to get out of the current situation and catching up in terms of volumes? from my point of view, there are two sides. First of all, it's important, or there are various opportunities to increase the volume, local cargo base. There has actually been a strengthening of the agricultural products exports. Russia is in general, it's an agricultural powerhouse, and President Putin has, let's say, encouraged and supported the agricultural industry, especially after sanctions had been imposed. And these, and there is further, let's say, ambition to increase exports in the sector, especially when it comes to foodstuff and grain exports of oil and fats. And this is really where I see some potential, as some of these goods are also containerized. We also there are also possibilities for further containerization. The Russian market, or the containerization level of Russia, is actually quite low when we compare it to, let's say, on an international level, where we see a containerization rate of roughly 20% of conventional cargo. For Russia, the estimations are between 5 and 7%. So when it comes to Russia's export commodities, chemicals, fertilizer, and liquids, there is really a big chance there to further increase the containerization, from my point of view. And regarding local cargo volumes, very interestingly, is the e-commerce sector. I have not been the only one who has massively increased online shopping activities over the last month. So this has really happened in the whole Russian market. Russia is an emerging, or one of the most emerging e-commerce countries worldwide. And over the next 4 years, a lot of a jump in e-commerce is expected, which will require also new and specific, let's say, logistic services. And this is where I really see a chance for ports to step in. Because there will be a further demand for value-added services, warehousing activities, packaging, and other services related to this business, and which could also lead to a strong volume increase. And Russia, as said, is not so far a transit country, but there exists a lot of opportunities to increase transit cargo flows, especially for the Russian Baltic ports. So we have heard it before, the Silk Road transport corridors which connect actually, or which should provide an alternative transport route to the traditional sea routes, and with connecting China with Europe, really provide a big opportunity also for Russian ports to generate additional cargo. There have been some trials in various ports, in St. Petersburg ports as well as Kaliningrad, where we have seen some block train operations to the Far East, although not on a very regular basis so far. So this is really just in the initial stages. The other chance that I see is the integration of Russian ports into the north-south transport corridors, which connects the European side, or Europe actually, with Southeast Asia, especially the big market of India, but all other countries which are in between there. Russia is actually promoting this transport corridor very well, trying to integrate various ports and railways into this system. What are the requirements actually for this transit cargo base increase? The infrastructure has to be improved significantly. The condition of the rail, of the Russian rail needs to be improved, and we also Russia has to be, or Russian railways especially, has to get more, let's say, attractive in terms of prices. And when it comes to the ports in general, so far there are still they are still lagging behind in terms of customs procedure speed. There are although some activities to speed up this process, and many terminals or various terminals in St. Petersburg has actually started some kind of digitalization programs to just speed up projects and yeah, speeding up the delivery or registration procedures to make yeah, this whole yeah, to actually fasten processes and to better integrate themselves into the services. Yeah, and to attract more cargo. So this is actually the brief overview over the Russian market from my side. Happy to answer any questions or receive any input on the presentation so far from my side.